Hey, it's Kim. Thanks for stopping by today's video where I'm going to be talking about April. Well, I'm going to be flipping through April, also talking about April, I guess. I feel like April just did not live up to its expectations, right? Like all of us expected more from April and it just didn't provide. It didn't do what we needed it to do. And you know what? I digress. I'm speaking for everyone, but I should just be speaking for myself. April did not hit. April was not a thing. I would like to move past April, but because I promised that I would do these flip throughs for each month, I am going to stick to my word and continue to do as such. So I'm going to flip through April in my daily planner, which is the Sterling Ink Common Planner in the N1 size, and it is the full year. And I'm currently housing it in a Moterm companion cover. It's their Traveler's Notebook cover. And the color is Honey, I believe. So, that out of the way, let's start at the beginning. And I do have all of my planners out right now because I was kind of sifting through and sorting and setting up. It is May 2nd at the moment, so kind of finishing up some things. I was off on Monday, and when I am off, even though I sometimes may actually work, I don't really open my planners. I don't really do a whole lot of stuff. So yesterday I was doing a lot of catching up to kind of update things, and I think I'm at a good place at the moment. But anyway, getting into April and how April looked in my daily planner. So here's the monthly overview. Pretty straightforward. Again, I did nothing with this side column. However, what I did do in April, I used it to kind of park some of my page flags or those things that I use as reminders to schedule things throughout the month. So it worked really well for that purpose. So for example, for this May layout, I have the ones that I don't have on dates over here. And I do feel like it looks a little messy at first, as the week or as the month is going on before everything is filled in. But eventually it fills in. And then this spot is left bare, but I'm not mad about it. It's okay. I feel like it's a good spot to have some visual rest, like a break. We don't need to have extra stuff in that side or on that side. So here's my monthly for April. Pretty straightforward. Nothing over the top, nothing outlandish. So we'll move into the weeklies. And for the entire month, I opted to use what I was calling or am calling that Nolte layout. I feel like there's a better name, but I can't think of what it is. Where I'm doing my timed things up at the top, and then I will assign like a theme for each day, and that's in the highlighted section. And then just below that, I have day specific tasks. And then in that mid section, I'll have notes of some sort on the right, and then a task list for the week on the left. At the bottom, I have my workouts and dinners for each day of the week. So I did that for all of April. And if you actually saw my May plan with me, I decided to do that ahead of time in the actual plan with me because I found that in April especially, it seemed like Sundays would get here way too fast. And then I was like, well, my weekly's not set up for next week. I don't feel like doing it Sunday night. So then I'd enter the week with a blank weekly, and that's a little bit stressful when you're looking at this and you have things to do. As soon as Monday hits, you need to hit the ground running, but just don't see it on a piece of paper. So for May, I decided to go ahead and just fill out or set up all of the weeklies ahead of time. So that's what I did for May, because April just took me by storm. Every single Monday, I feel like I was met with, oh shoot, I need to hurry up and put my layout together. So the weeklies for the month came together just fine. Some are a little bare in that middle section. And I think at first it was kind of bothering me that I don't have a defined use for this right-hand side. Like it doesn't always fill up. But at the same time, I don't like when there's so much structure on my weekly layouts. So if I did have like a defined reason or purpose for every segment in this little section, I think that actually might bug me, because if there was some week specific note that I wanted to write down, maybe I wouldn't have a space to put it. I just need to use sticky notes, but I don't know. I need to just relax and allow the space to be flexible. So in this third week of April, I didn't even have anything over on the right hand side. Oh, and let me back up. So this week, that first week of April, was spring break for my kids. So I had already decided in my brain that I wasn't going to do a whole lot. I was going to also be on spring break with my kids, so I wasn't going to do a whole lot. I considered it kind of like an off week or down week, a reset week, if you will, right? And then the second week, my husband and I decided to take the actual week off from work or anything, because the 9th was our 20th wedding anniversary. We had planned to spend it in Europe. That didn't happen. We will do that at a later date, but we were still like, we want to have the entire week off. So we did that. And I mean, I didn't complain. I feel like I needed that rest. I needed that, little bit of a staycation type of thing. However, that left me with 2 out of the 4 weeks of April not really doing much, not being very productive, not getting a lot of the things done that I had my heart set on getting done. So I was kind of grappling with that in the background of my mind. Not enough to actually, work this week. I wasn't gonna be that silly or that crazy. So that did leave me feeling like for weeks 3 and 4 that I would have so much to fill in and so much to catch up on. But at the beginning of this third week of April, starting around the 15th, I was just like, you know what? I can't do that, because then I would stress myself out and it's not worth it. So I just decided to do whatever I could with the remainder of the month, which was only 2 weeks, and call it good. So that's a large part of the reason why I feel like April just didn't live up to my expectations. And that is likely my fault. I don't deny that, but still doesn't make it any easier to digest. So here's that third week of April. No notes, nothing at all. And I will also note that I was prepping for a half marathon that we were doing on Sunday, April 28th. So originally we were not going to travel or stay in a hotel before the half marathon, since it's pretty close, but since you have to be there at like 5 o'clock in the morning, we were just going to stay at a hotel that was much closer. We weren't going to, because we had an event that was supposed to be on the 27th. At the last minute, that event got changed to the 24th. So then that meant that, well, we could stay in a hotel. So then I had to find a hotel, had to do all of that. In the midst of feeling like I was preparing for this race. So it also felt like this week, not a lot got done. I feel like I was focusing mostly on what was going to happen on Sunday and packing and all that other stuff. And it just fell flat. It kind of fell flat in terms of productivity. Again, that's okay. It is what it is. So the weekly is the same as when we started. And you can see in these 2 weeks, there's a lot less going on. Actually, all the weeks. There's not a lot going on in the note sections for the weeklies. And that's just the way everything shaped up. And then moving on to the tracker for April. The tracker is pretty straightforward. I actually got a comment about questions about my trackers, and that led me to thinking that I would likely do a video explaining my trackers, the trackers I use, how I use them, why I use them, also giving some tips on who I think trackers could help and other types of trackers that could be used, even if I don't personally use them myself at the moment. So I think I am going to put that video together. If you are interested in seeing that video, please make sure you do subscribe. But here's my tracker for April. And I will say previously, if you were here in prior videos, that I was trying to figure out what marker I wanted to use to denote like when I completed a task or checked off that specific habit. And I was using these slashes for March and April, and I don't like them. So I'm going to move on to something else. In May, I already started going back to the dots that I usually use. I only used it for February of this year. I actually did like the check marks, but I didn't like that I had to turn the book every time I wanted to check off something. It really wasn't that big of a deal. Maybe I will revisit check marks. Anyway. So this is my tracker for the month of April. I didn't do a whole lot down at the bottom. It doesn't look like, you know, a very informational kind of graph the way I would usually like it to look. And it hasn't looked that way since the beginning of the year. But for May, I have told myself that I'm going to get back to doing that and tracking all those other things that I like to do at the bottom, like my sleep and my weight. I am doing more strength training, sort of like a body recomposition, which I will cover in an upcoming video of my health planner. And I have this in a Paper Test Designs weekly notebook. I'm going to have an update on this, I think, the week after this video airs. So again, if you don't want to miss that, be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications if you would like to, so you don't miss that video. But I am going to be tracking all those other things down here, maybe some additional items, because I feel like I have all of this space. I love a graph. Why not just utilize it to the best of my ability? All right, so that's the tracker. And then moving into my dashboard for April. So if you did see my April Plan With Me video, you would have seen when I set up this dashboard, and I really do like it. I like the layout. I stuck with the same layout for May. I got rid of that section down at the bottom where I was gonna write in like important dates or reminders, and just kept it to my focus for the month, as well as 4 boxes to state what I'm reading, learning, watching, and a project that I'm working on, a home project that I'm working on at the moment. So because April was a wash, not a lot of this stuff got done. I mean, I did read some books. I did watch some television. I feel like that was pretty much it. The courses and things that I wanted to learn, didn't really do that. Nothing got done on my home projects. And most of the stuff in the focus area also did not get done. So I will be transferring a lot of this over to May. I haven't fully set up that dashboard just yet. Last night I was actually doing that, thinking about what I wanted to do for my focus areas or goals for May. And I actually came up with something a little bit different, kind of like a monthly game plan that I'm going to work through, which I will share in an upcoming video. But this is the dashboard for April. Again, not a lot got done. And then on the right hand side, my 1 line a day, which always usually gets filled in. So that's the dashboard for the intro into my April daily pages. And because April was a whirlwind, just weird in general, I did not use a day per page for April. And I kind of knew that going in, because previously in March, the way I had been doing it was like a week on 4 pages. So I was able to do just a week on 4 pages because I wasn't doing a whole lot of the micro journaling. And I wasn't keeping like really long task lists for each day. And that's cool. That's absolutely fine. I also wasn't journaling in my regular journal a lot in April, and in May I've decided that is going to change. So for the dailies, like I said, I believe for the entire month I've stuck to a week on 4 pages. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's including the weekly recap or the weekly review that I like to do. I did continue to add a few type of memorabilia kind of things and a lot more stickers to fill up some of the space. Oh, I also did some doodling here and there. So I really do love the way the April dailies filled up. I'm just kind of surprised myself that I didn't use more pages. But it's okay. That's exactly how things work. Sometimes you use a whole lot of paper. Sometimes you only use a little bit of paper, and you kind of find your balance in between. And I noticed a lot of times on the weekends, I didn't even use my planner a lot. Like this Saturday, I did nothing. I wrote nothing down, at least. Same for Sunday, and I think that is true for a lot of the weekends. Yeah. They're a little bare. And then again, try my hand at some doodling. This was supposed to be like a lightning bolt around this migraine. I feel like it kind of looks like an oddly shaped drawing of Texas, but that's not what that is. It's supposed to be a lightning bolt. So I did like incorporating a lot of that stuff with some of the markers and doodles and just writing in some things using different colors of markers. So that's what I did. Again, this is the weekend that's kind of bare. I just put some larger stickers here to try and fill in a bit more of the space. And some memorabilia type things that I added to the layouts. Also continue with the journaling. And here you can see it was that last weekend of April, and that's where that Sunday was the race day, and then I was planning out like subways that we were going to take when we stayed on Saturday, things I needed to do on Saturday before we left, and then that review for the end of the week. And that was pretty much that last weekend of April. So I really love how this looks, how it looks really filled in, and how I use different colors with the markers. So I'm going to continue that. That's my jam. That's just what I do. Again, I was just surprised that I didn't use a lot more paper throughout the month. And then the 29th and 30th, which is that Monday and Tuesday, the last 2 days of April, I already knew that I was going to try to fill in, each page for a day, but that didn't work. And the reason why I knew that, I'm saying, is because I had already set up May. So I had already set up May. There's a video on my channel for that May plan with me if you are interested. So I knew I had these 2 pages to devote to full days of planning, and I didn't do that. I did have some sticky notes parked here, but I will likely not fill this in with anything else going forward because I'm not going to really flip back to these pages, and there's nothing of note that I need to come back to and reference here. So that's where my dailies end for April. And after that, we have the pièce de résistance, which is the journal that I put together, or the journal spread that I put together at the end of each month, kind of recapping some highlights of the month or just memories that I want to hold on to for the month. I started doing this at the beginning of last year, but in my previous video, I talked about, which I'll link down below, I talked about how I want to continue memory journaling, but not in a separate memory journal. And in my last flip through, the March flip through, I think my March one wasn't ready, but there's my March, and here's my April. And I like doing these spreads because, again, like I said, it helps me remember things that happen throughout the month, and it's a good place to put down those photos that we take on our phones that we completely forget about eventually. But I like doing this to have a spot to reflect back on the month in or two. And then I do have this 2-page spread. I had ideas for this. I think I might do sort of like a plant care kind of spread. I have a lot of plants, and when I say a lot, I mean a whole lot. So maybe tracking when I fertilize things, I might do that here. I had that kind of spread in last year's planner, but it didn't quite hit. I didn't really use it as much as I thought I would. So I don't know if I want to do the same thing here or something just a little bit different that I'm actually going to use. So we'll see. I have that spot reserved for that, or my next order tracker. I'm almost due to update or to create a new order tracker, and I may put it on this 2-page spread here. So that wraps up all of what I had going on for April. The April happenings in my planner. And though there weren't a lot of daily pages used, not a lot of paper that was used, I do feel like, you know, I fully utilized my planner from start to finish in the month, just in a way that was slightly different than I'm used to, because I think just getting things done and checking off a task list really wasn't my priority. I think maybe my priority for the month was relaxing and resting and a reset of sorts. And it wasn't planned, which is why I guess I grappled with it for so long. But then eventually by like week 3, 4-ish, I just leaned into it and realized that that is just what April was going to be, and that May, you know, I can kind of start over. And that's how I truly feel. I feel like May is going to be a little bit of a reset or refresh, and I'm actually kind of excited about that. Almost like the start of a new year, almost like the start of a new school year. It just feels like a fresh or new beginning. So that is what I took away from April in general. That sometimes plans change, and sometimes that's okay, because what is most needed is to rest, to relax, and to kind of fill up the cup from which we pour, right? To get that restoration that we need in our lives. So I thank you so much for following along on today's video, all about April pages in my planner, how I used it, what I thought of April, what I liked, what I didn't like, and that sums it all up. Again, thank you so much for watching and following along with today's video. Please do subscribe if you are interested, and leave me a comment if you have any questions or want to know more about something that I've shown on today. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like as well. I'll see you in the next video.